Fox 34 and the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce present the Lubbock County Judge GOP Primary Runoff Forum.
We welcome you to the Lubbock County Judge GOP Primary Candidate Forum. It's hosted by the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce and Fox 34 News. I'm Jeff Klotzman. Tonight we feature the two candidates who are vying in a runoff for the position of Lubbock County Judge in the GOP primary runoff election. That'll be on May 22nd. No candidates are running for this particular seat from any other political party, so these are the two candidates for the seat as we know them, and the winner of this runoff is the presumptive winner of this race. The position of Lubbock County Judge has been held since 1999 by Tom Head, so this is not a seat that regularly turns over, which has made this an interesting race for who will be Lubbock's next county judge. The first name on the ballot is Gary Boren. Mr. Boren is a graduate of Monterey High School and Texas Tech. He is a businessman, previously the senior vice president of G. Boren Services. He served on the Lubbock ISD Board of Trustees from 1982 to 1988, then on the Lubbock City Council from 2002 to 2007. He has earned statewide recognition for property tax reform and was appointed by Governor Parrish to a state task force on that subject. Mr. Boren has also served on advisory boards to Wayland Baptist and Texas Tech. He says his time in politics will better serve Lubbock County. The second name on the ballot, Curtis Parrish. Mr. Parrish is an attorney in Lubbock. He's attended Lubbock Christian University, graduated from Texas Tech and the Texas Tech School of Law. He served under State Senator Robert Duncan during his time in Austin. He serves on the boards of several organizations like Civic Lubbock, Inc. and the Salvation Army, helped establish the Buddy Holly Museum and the Walk of Fame. Tonight we're going to ask the questions that you need answered in order to make an informed decision. The candidates have a limited time for their statements and responses, and a timekeeper is in the studio, and they will be signaled when they have 30 seconds remaining and also signaled to wrap up their responses when they have 10 seconds remaining. We're now going to begin with a 3-minute opening statement from each candidate in the order in which their name appears on the ballot. We begin with Mr. Boren. Your statement, sir.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you to Raymar Communications, Fox 34, to Brad Moran and the staff here that have made all this possible. I appreciate the opportunity to get to share my views, and I appreciate my competitor here, Curtis. I feel like he's sort of like a traveling companion. We just always going at each other, but I always appreciate these opportunities. My name is Gary Boren. I'm a lifelong citizen of Lubbock. I've lived here all my life, and the reason I'm running, number one, was I thought it was absolutely wrong, even greedy, for county commissioners to keep raising their salaries 3 times the last 4 years. I think it's over 41%. I thought that was outrageous, especially when the average homeowner, the average family of 4 makes $45,000 a year. These salaries are already over $84,000. I think number 2, that our property taxes are outrageously high. The appraisal process that I've had an opportunity to study that Governor Rick Perry appointed me to, I believe I can bring some insight on how we can help our citizens deal with the appraisal office, deal with these issues, and support our delegation in Austin as we seek to make changes. Number 3, I think Sheriff Kelly Rowe, our Lubbock County Sheriff, needs to be given all the tools to fight crime in our county to protect us as citizens and homeowners. For instance, we have sex trafficking. That's a high rate going on in Lubbock. We have illegal criminals, illegal alien criminals. These aren't people who snuck across the border and are trying to make a living. These are people who are hardened criminals that rape, murder, crime, high crime statistics, and he's already had captured 81 in his first quarter. I think our way of life can be endangered if he didn't have the tools to get after these kind of perpetrators of crime. Number 3, I believe our county roads are in bad shape. I believe that we need to look at new ways of budgeting, new ways of finding money to get things done to get this taken care of. And lastly, I think it's reckless for elected officials to pass bond money and spend millions of taxpayer dollars in public debt without giving you, the citizen, you, the homeowner, you, the one who are our bosses, the right to tell us what we need to do. So those are the main reasons that I'm running. This job is administrative, which I've just outlined, and it's also judicial. I will be handling all the judicial responsibilities of this job. I will not be passing them on to anyone else. I'll be taking care of those myself. And personally, we all have to go through the same amount of training to make sure that we fit the law, the statutes of the state of Texas. So those are the main reasons I'm running, and I appreciate this opportunity to share with you.
Thank you, Mr. Boren. Mr. Parrish, you have 3 minutes for an opening statement.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Raymar, and thank you, KJTV 34, for sponsoring this debate, along with the good folks at the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce. I am Curtis Parrish. I'm a fifth-generation West Texan. I'm a husband, I'm a father, community leader, business owner. I'm an elder at Broadway Church of Christ, and I'm an attorney. I know what it means to roll up your sleeves and get to work, especially when the going gets tough. This is the essence of being a West Texan, knowing you have to work for yourself and for your family and for your community, and not depend on government to do it for you. The job of Lubbock County Judge is part administrative and part judicial. The administrative part of the Lubbock County Judge is extremely important for the county. The county judge is the presiding officer of the Commissioner's Court and is one of 5 votes on the court. It's the job of the county judge to provide leadership and vision to the commissioners. They are the managers of the county. I am the person that can provide that leadership and that vision. I'm the conservative pay-as-you-go candidate. I believe taxpayers should be involved in decisions that affect their lives and their pocketbooks. I'm a strong believer in open, transparent, and accountable government. There is also a very important judicial part of this job. The county judge has original jurisdiction over all probates, all guardianships, and all mental health cases in Lubbock County. These are the areas of law that I practice in. I've had hundreds of hearings before the county judge. I'm capable and able to do this job. We need a county judge that can provide leadership and vision with integrity. As county judge, I will bring a strong work ethic, maintaining high standards of judicial and personal conduct to the office. I am a believer in smaller, more efficient government. I believe in serving the court with honesty and integrity. I will bring my education, my experience to do 100% of the job of Lubbock County Judge. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now we will get the candidates' views on the issues that matter most to you. Each candidate will have 1.5 minutes to respond to each question. The questions will be asked in a rotating ballot order, and we'll get started with our first question, which is, while this is a GOP primary race, Lubbock County is a very diverse place that includes everything from farms to high-tech labs on campus, small businesses, people from all political views and walks of life. The recent very close municipal election shows that there are some issues on which the residents are about evenly split, 50-50. So if elected, how would you transition from appealing to a base that participates in primary elections to appealing to all of the Lubbock County residents? And we begin with Mr. Boren.
Thank you, Jeff. And I also forgot to thank Eddie McBride and Norma for the chamber. Appreciate it. First of all, this job represents all the citizens of Lubbock. We are Lubbock. And I have experience, 47 years of business working with major corporations, major individuals. I'm on the Texas Workforce Board. I know what jobs mean. I know what it takes to get things done. I understand the importance of people being able to have a living and not having government on their back, government taking their salary and putting their home at risk. I also realize that when your taxes go up, insurance goes up. And knowing these things, what I want to do is to sit down and work with the 2 commissioners that are there. And we also want to take the county commissioners court meeting and go to the different rural communities in Lubbock County. For instance, I'd like to go to Slayton every 1 quarter. Next quarter, go to Warfith. Next quarter, go to Shallowater. Next quarter, go to New Deal, Abernathy, Ransom Canyon. We want to rotate the court around just to let people know this is their elected body, this is their court. And it's going to take everyone working together to solve our problems. The labels of Republican, Democrat, or they represent the party you're in, but when it comes to people, we're all the same. We're Lubbock citizens, and we're in this battle together to make Lubbock an outstanding place to live, to grow your business, and to have a family. I understand these things. I've been in business. I've made a payroll for 47 years in a multi-million-dollar business, and I've also known how to work with government and how to reduce government.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Parrish.
Thank you, Jeff. Yes, Lubbock County is a very diverse county. In fact, we are a large urban city in a small rural district county. And I understand all the diversity that is economically in Lubbock County. Our agricultural industry, our oil and gas, of course, our education with our universities, and our hospital district as well. These are the areas that has benefited Lubbock County and has been a great asset to Lubbock County. It has kept us recession-proof in our county. And you need a county judge that knows and understands each of those industries very well, and I do. And to be able to answer all those questions, I am the only candidate that actually lives out in the county. So all of these issues that we are faced in the county, I know them very personally, very intimately. My wife and I are both residents of the county outside, and we live outside the city. And so there's a lot of issues that are facing us, and not just some of these agricultural issues and oil and gas issues, but our rural fire departments, our sheriff's department, and our EMS services. We need to make sure that all of those services that are provided by Lubbock County benefit all of the citizens of Lubbock County. And as your county judge, I will make sure that all of that diversity has a voice. And it has a voice at the state level, it has a voice at the city level, it has a voice at the federal level. I will be that county judge.
Thank you, sir. And we will continue with this question to Mr. Parrish. It does not appear that there will be a federal infrastructure bill this year. The federal government is increasingly shifting these responsibilities to the states, and the state in turn is increasingly shifting these responsibilities to local and county governments. I think you both agree that building and improving county roads is very important, but we want to know, how are you going to finance this?
Well, just as a point of reference, just this morning, the Municipal Planning Organization voted and authorized $2.6 million for Woodrow Road to start the engineering process to expand Woodrow Road from US 87, Tohoka Highway, all the way to Slide Road. And in order to do this, what we have to have is a coalition. We have to have local people taking care of us. And Jeff, you're exactly right. We cannot depend on the federal government to take care of us. And increasingly, we can't depend on the state government to take care of us. We're getting a lot of unfunded mandates that just trickle down from Washington to Austin to here in Lubbock. So it's going to be up to us, the people of Lubbock County, to take care of this. And then working with all of these organizations, with the city, with the state, with the developers, with the local school boards. These are the folks, if we all come together, we can find a commonality, and we can get these roads constructed that we need to take care of the citizens of Lubbock County. One in particular is South University. There has been a coalition put together in order to improve South University from 1585 all the way to the Woodrow Road. And what this will do is this will provide an adequate road for not only all the developers and for the doors that are coming in there, but also for Cooper East. This is just a small example, but the county judge has to see the whole county.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Boren, your response.
Well, basically, I'm the only one that has experience working with state, federal, on coming up with funds to do roads. We did on the city council when I was there with Mayor Mark McDougal, Tom Martin, Jim Gilbert. We came up with a plan to build Milwaukee, how we captured money by scrubbing the budget, looking at ways to reprioritize your budget. And that's what we would do in this case with the Lubbock County budget. We got to refocus how we spend money to get roads done. Woodrow Road, and I was aware of the engineering and planning, that comes through MPO. Your money from the state, MPO decides, and then they carry it out. So those are things that are critical. Woodrow Road, of course, is a main two-lane highway, strip paving that is in front of Lubbock Cooper, the second fastest growing school. And the reason it's a priority, one, because you have 50+ school buses running on that thing with 16-year-old drivers driving, parents and grandparents, and it's very dangerous. And it's been that way since the beginning. So South University is critical too, but we've had more accidents and deaths on the Woodrow Road than some sublet road to try to help developers put in some things that they're looking for. So we have to focus on the critical areas of our county on roads. We have issues over in Warfith and Shallowater and Idalou. And the way you do this is you get those communities together, you show them the money you can come up with, you get with TxDOT, you match your funds up, and they work with you and come up with ways to get this going. And that's what I'll do as a county judge with my experience.
Thank you, sir. Earlier, we mentioned this recent election in Lubbock where the voters narrowly authorized that the Municipal Coliseum and Auditorium be returned to Texas Tech. Solutions for a multi-purpose dirt event center now have to be found. For instance, the city of Lubbock has partnered with the privately funded Buddy Holly Hall, a performing arts and sciences effort, by contributing some land for that facility. What, if any, is the role of the county in a future dirt floor event center that would benefit all of Lubbock County? And Mr. Boren, you have that question first.
Basically, the priority of Lubbock County is the criminal justice system of the state of Texas. The Lubbock County Judge Commissioner's Court, we're responsible for the sheriff's office, the jail, detention center. We're responsible for the prosecutor's office and the courts. That's our main focus, our main purpose. And then we have the probationary areas that we have to work with also. With that in mind, as much as I love entertainment, as much as I love FFA clubs and junior livestock shows and been involved in them, we cannot keep our focus on the entertainment venues. I brought Sir Paul McCartney here, I brought ZZ Top, I've brought Rascal Flatts, I've brought a lot of entertainment to Lubbock in venues. I understand the venues, but our focus with county government money by state law is to focus on our mission, which is criminal justice. And then you take that part, and then we have the road administration, we have the jail, and to take care of the jailers and the prosecutor's office so we can put these criminals in jail, and then we have to have the court set up. We're pretty much with a loaded boat right now. So for something like this for us to drift into would not be wise or prudent with the taxpayers' money.
Thank you, Mr. Boren. Mr. Parrish.
I am completely against using county money for entertainment venue purposes. County money is designed for 3 prongs, and that is our public safety with our Sheriff's Department, our EMS services, our rural fire departments, our juvenile justice center. Those are under the umbrella of public safety. And then we use our money for roads and maintenance. And then we use our money for our justice system to make sure that our criminal justice system, our civil justice system, and of course our probates, guardianships, and mental health cases all are operating fairly and equitably as well. Money for dirt event, a dirt event center, should and ought to come from the private resources, private enterprise. The county does not need to be involved in that, and certainly the county does not need to be going to the voters asking for a bond election to do that. This is something that I am 100% against.
All right, gentlemen. Since 1999, when this seat last changed hands, what do you think has changed for the better, and what has changed for the worse? What role do you play in growing the good and curtailing the bad? And we begin with Mr. Parrish.
Well, since 1999, obviously you can drive around Lubbock County and see what substantial growth that we've had. We're currently now at 303,000 people in Lubbock County. And as our county has grown, that's been a great benefit, but it also comes with great challenges. And one of the great challenges that we're seeing in this particular seat, as Lubbock County Judge, is we're seeing a marked increase in the caseload in our probates, guardianships, and mental health cases. It has increased dramatically, especially in the last 10 years of those 20. This requires a judge who understands and knows the law to be able to shepherd those cases efficiently and also fairly and with compassion for each of the folks that show up needing probate help and guardianship help, and of course for our mental health cases as well. These have increased dramatically. So with our growth comes great challenges, and we need a county judge that understands those challenges, especially in the judicial area, because even the laws themselves have changed dramatically. Over the last, just this last legislative session, 19 new guardianship laws have been added to the books. We need a county judge that understands that and is able to shepherd those cases fairly and equitably and hold our guardians and hold them all accountable.
We'll let you finish that thought.
Yeah, I was going to say, hold our guardians and hold our executors accountable.
Okay, Mr. Boren, we'll give you an extra 2 seconds or so as well.
Well,
Go
thank
right
you.
ahead.
Basically, what we have seen is Lubbock take unprecedented growth because of the great university we have here, Texas Tech, our LCU, Wayland, South Plains. We have great communities in the county, and so we've seen unprecedented growth. With that growth also has come challenges. We've got a new county jail that was built, a detention center, and we've had to staff up and ramp up to deal with the exploding population. When you have this kind of growth, you also attract a lot of people that are criminals or people that want to take advantage of citizens, and so we have to keep, based on our stats and what we're seeing, we got to keep our sheriff's department staffed up. They got to have the best equipment, armor, bullets, things to protect them, protect us. And as we see this growth, when the county judge steps back and just lets the county commissioner's court do what it wants to without vision, without balance, then you get people sort of running a little bit rampant, raising their salaries. You get them doing things that are not necessarily in the best interest of our citizens. As far as the probates and the guardianships, these are issues too, but that's why County Court Law 3 and the other 2 were also designed, 1 and 2, to handle probates. This job is one of dealing with uncontested issues and dealing with the guardianships and with the probates, so mental hearings. So the job has to be balanced. It's on one wing is your administrative responsibilities to help deal with the growth, and the other wing is your judicial experiences that you have to deal with as the population increases.
Thank you, gentlemen. We're going to take a short break now. Then we will continue the Lubbock County Judge GOP primary runoff forum. We're asking the questions that you need answered so you can decide which candidate should lead Lubbock County. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Lubbock County Judge GOP Primary Runoff Forum, presented by Fox 34 and the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce.
The 2 candidates for Lubbock County Judge, Gary Boren and Curtis Parrish. Early voting, by the way, is underway. The election is Tuesday, the 22nd. We begin this round of questions with Mr. Boren. What is the role of the Lubbock County Judge when it comes to the county hospital district? And what in your background prepares you for that role?
Thank you, Jeff. Basically, the Lubbock County Commissioner's Court and County Judge, we have the responsibilities for putting the board of directors in place. It's set up to where also we approve their tax rate, we approve their bonding, and we approve their budget. And you know, the UMC, University Medical Center, is also considered one of the best working places in Texas. It's one of the top ones. And so, you know, the issue is, can they get better? Yes, but the way we help them get better is put great business people in there that know how to run these sort of entities, because the margins of healthcare are very slim. So our responsibility is not to get involved administratively, not to get involved with the hospital operations, but to give oversight when their budget needs approval, to give oversight on their tax rate, to give oversight how we can see if we can lower that tax rate down if it's with expenses. But in a world where Medicare and Medicaid and charges are coming through, it's going to be extremely tough thing to happen. But we don't want to endanger the Lubbock County Hospital, because it's such a critical part of our job creation and our markets for small businesses and for suppliers. They bring in a lot of medical wealth to Lubbock, and we have a right to work with them. We have the responsibility to provide the Sheriff's Department to work with them on cases that might be dangerous.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Parrish.
Well, not only does the county judge and the commissioners have oversight on the budget and place members of the board. But I think the commissioners and county judge also have a duty to all the citizens of Lubbock County to make sure that their hospital district is providing adequate services for all of Lubbock County. Currently, UMC operates our EMS services for Lubbock County. And just in the past year or so, we've had several issues involved with UMC providing services out beyond the city limits of Lubbock. Currently, they've stated that their response time for non-emergency, for if you call 911 on a non-emergency call, 40 minutes for county runs. For emergency, 20 minutes. This is unacceptable to me. As county judge, one of the first things I will do is make sure we bring all of our providers to the table. And we will make sure that this response time is lowered, that is adequate, and that will keep people safe. Because a 40-minute emergency response time to me is unacceptable, because non-emergencies turn into emergencies very, very quickly. And so we need an EMS services, we need a hospital district that serves all of Lubbock County. As county judge, I will see that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Parrish, and you will have this question to begin. The Lubbock County judge provides over the county commissioner's court and addresses many of the same issues that commissioners do. Many people want to know what is the role of the county judge and how does it differ from being a county commissioner?
Well, it differs greatly. The 4 county commissioners are the managers of Lubbock County. The county judge is the presiding officer of the commissioner's court. You run the meetings. Plus, you also provide leadership and vision to those commissioners. They're responsible for their quadrant of the county, and the county judge gets to see the big picture, gets to provide leadership and vision to the entire commissioner's court, to the entire county. This is the role of the county judge administratively. But also the county judge is the original jurisdiction for all probates, guardianships, and mental health cases, all probates, guardianships, and mental health cases. And so this is a prime responsibility of the county judge to not only provide leadership and vision to the commissioner's court to make sure that they're doing their job properly, but to also make sure that that this area of law is run efficiently, that those cases are managed properly. In fact, it's so important that in this last legislative session, the legislators added a $250,000 bond, a $250,000 insurance policy as it were, to make sure that the county judge does his job. And as county judge and someone with legal experience, I will not put our bond at risk, putting our taxpayers at risk as well. I will make sure this job is done and done right.
Mr. Boren.
Basically, it's a citizen's court. It's a citizen's judge. It's a position to give oversight for the budget, for direction of the court, to give oversight to purchasing, oversight to public safety, oversight to the jail detention center, to the courts, and to the working with the courts and working with the DA's office. It also has responsibility of taking care of the election. It has responsibilities for the SPAG board, the juvenile board, and working with the hospital district, which my opponent mentions the aspect of this 40-minute delay and 20-minute delay. I've called the hospital district and asked if that's the case, and they don't seem to know these stats, so I don't know what the issue is there, but we have not been able to document that stat if it's true or not. It may be, but I haven't been able to document that. It also gives oversight to the probates, the guardianships, and the mental health. And they also have an attorney in the office and an investigator to give this assistance. So you have to have leadership. You've got to see the whole picture. I have 47 years of business experience. I have over 11 years working with government, city, schools, a $500 million budget, knowing how to work streets, LPD, working with police protection, working with these courts and different things to help all this come together. It's a leadership role with county commissioners who are elected officials for their part of the county and helping them accomplish what these citizens need to be accomplished.
Okay, Mr. Boren, continuing with you for this question. If you are elected to take office on January 1st, 2019, please discuss what your plans are for the first 100 days in office. Please discuss the kind of meetings, partnerships, or alliances and other activities that you would plan to engage in.
The first thing that we would do would be to immediately stop any kind of raises for county commissioners and county judge, and study to reduce those salaries of the county commissioners and judge that has gone up the past 4 years, and reduce that. The second thing would be to bring in the department heads, the sheriff, and the individual in charge of the road construction, to bring in, work with the DA and the courts. The court has an administrator, to see what their issues are and to find out how we can work together. The next thing would be to do is to open this up, the county government up, and to put out a memorandum that on open records request. If it's not something that is dealing with personnel, dealing with exceptions by law, open it up. Don't make people wait 10 days to get information. Open it up and allow access to all this kind of information. And then the next thing that we'd be doing is working with the budget, scrubbing it, seeing how we can be more efficient, working with purchasing, seeing if we can't get more bids put out, RFPs put out, and less regulation for people to have to go through. And all this will be under the guidance. Dealing with the probates and the guardianships, we'll be holding hearings, because our role as a citizens court is to pretty much, we're restricted what we can do. The legislature did not set this up to be a court to handle court 1, 2, or 3 that we have now. It's to refer anything contested to those courts. We're to deal with uncontested and deal in a manner that is professional.
Thank you, Mr. Boren. Mr. Parrish.
Well, nothing in the statute says that the county judge can only hear uncontested cases. In fact, the statute clearly says that all probates and all guardianships and all mental health cases are under the jurisdiction, the original jurisdiction of the Lubbock County judge. What Mr. Boren is saying does not exist in the statutes. The first thing I will do, as I spoke before, will be to bring our emergency providers together, and not just our EMS services, but our rural fire departments together as well, to make sure that all of us, all of the citizens in Lubbock County are adequate public safety protection. And that includes folding in the sheriff's department as well. One of the things that I know that the sheriff's department needs very desperately is they need more boots on the ground. They need more patrol officers. They need to get more people out in the county that are patrolling the areas. When you have one deputy that's trying to cover a large quadrant of Lubbock County, it's not done adequately. So one of my first acts during the first 100 days as your county judge will be to re-examine how we do public safety in Lubbock County and make sure that our EMS services are adequate, make sure our sheriff's department are adequate, make sure our rural fire departments are adequate to provide safety in our homes and safety with our communities, all of our communities, not just Lubbock, not just the smaller rural districts, all of our communities.
Thank you. Gentlemen, you have spent a lot of time with each other. Please take a moment to discuss your assessment of your opponent's greatest weaknesses and greatest strengths. Mr. Parrish.
Well, thank you. That was a very surprising question. Mr. Boren's greatest strength, though, is his longtime public service. He has served Lubbock County and the citizens of Lubbock very, very admirably. He has served on the school board, he has served on the city council, and he does have a long history of service to the citizens of Lubbock. And so I would consider that to be one of his greater strengths. I think one of his greater weaknesses for this particular job is his lack of judicial experience and lack of legal education. This is a legal job. This job of Lubbock County judge is one of that requires the county judge to have a lot of legal experience. In fact, he calls it a citizen's court, and actually the only job description of the county judge in the Constitution is that you must be well informed in the laws of the state. I am well informed in the laws of the state, and I have no problem doing 100% of the job of Lubbock County judge.
And Mr. Boren.
Well, I think Curtis is a fine Christian man. I've gotten to know him and some of his family, great people, and he has a good heart about him. and I recognize that. He only has 10 years legal experience, you know, so we're not talking about a constitutional 30-year thing on how to deal with Lubbock County. Out of the Texas counties, 254 of them, only approximately 13% have attorneys. That's because this is a citizens court. It represents the truck drivers, it represents the teachers, it represents the home builders, it represents a small business person or a big business person who wants to serve their county. It's a citizens judgeship. And the only qualification, and I looked it up, Article 5, Section 15, is that you have to be a citizen. You got to be eligible to vote. It doesn't mean you have to go to law school. It doesn't mean you have to be in some kind of appellate role or some type of a court. You have to have experience, you know, in life that citizens believe in, and you have to be able to follow the law about being a voter. And the Secretary of State has that on there, and if you look on their website, you also find out that under county court, it doesn't say you have to be an attorney. So only 13% of the counties in Texas have attorneys, and in the whole panhandle, 0, because somebody has to help the citizens. Somebody has to be there to deal with the citizen issues on their roads, on their policy of taxation, on these probates, on the whole job, and have the experience to do what's required in this job.
Thank you, candidates. We're going to take one more break, then we'll continue with our questions. You're watching the Lubbock County Judge GOP Primary Runoff Forum.
Welcome back to the Lubbock County Judge GOP Primary Runoff Forum, presented by Fox 34 and the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce.
Gary Boren and Curtis Parrish are the candidates for Lubbock County Judge. Early voting is underway. Election day is on Tuesday, the 22nd. Gentlemen, in preparing your candidacy for this race, you have studied successful initiatives in other counties in Texas. What are some examples that you have found and could be modeled or replicated here in Lubbock County? And Mr. Boren, you have that question.
Well, first of all, what I have found is that it has convinced me more and more of the impact of the wisdom of our legislature, when they first did the Constitution, of making this a citizens court, to have oversight over the sheriff's office, over the courts, over the DA's office, the criminal justice. It's a checks and balance. It's a citizens judge where anyone can be it. It is not for those that or whatever case in life you may be, you can be there. And so what I look at is what's the most efficient way to get our jail, to help our workers there, to protect them and to take care of these people that have been detained. What's the best way to help our patrols and the equipment and the way we bid things out, the cars, what they need? What's the best way to get our roads fixed where we can get the products, the cotton to market, and to get the sheriff, his cars out there to on a call or something without having to go through a mess. You know, you have to look at all these things, and I have been looking at major different counties. There's things you can learn in each Texas county. But the overriding factor will be those that have the desire to step up, that have the experience, that knows how to challenge the system, that knows how to tell the pro-government spending forces, no, we know how we got to do it here in Lubbock. We know the citizens can't afford more taxation, they can't afford more costs on their homes, and we got to realign our resources and figure out how we can help our community to grow and be prosperous.
Mr. Parrish.
When I was working with Senator Robert Duncan, one of my jobs was as a liaison between the Senate office and the counties of the 28th Senatorial District, approximately now 51 counties, working with those county governments. I've got to see how county government works, not just in the smaller rural counties, but of course in the bigger counties like Lubbock County. What works, what doesn't work, how the county responds to its citizens, both administratively and judicially, and how the counties work with the state government. You realize a county is an arm of the state, and the counties can only do what they are directly authorized by the state to do. It's unlike in the school board, it's unlike in the city hall, where you have a little bit of freedom. Here's your parameters, and you can operate within this parameters. For county government, you can only do what is specifically authorized by the state. And so I have worked with county governments all over West Texas. And what does work best is when those county governments are more open, more honest, more transparent, and more accountable to the citizens that they serve. This is where county government works best. And as county judge, I will make sure that we are open and accountable and transparent to all the citizens of Lubbock County. And I've seen it work really good, I've seen it work really bad, and I know where it's bad and how to fix it.
Okay, and you will answer this question, Mr. Parrish. Pay raises for the County Commissioners Court, a topic of much discussion in the contested county commissioner races earlier this year. Are you willing to take a pledge to lead an effort to reverse the pay raises that have been approved over the past few years for both county judge and commissioners? And if so, how much do you want to cut those salaries?
Well, absolutely. The salaries, if they're out of line, they need to be rolled back. And so we need to examine those. We need to scrub that budget. Getting into office on January 1, we are going to scrub that budget. And we may have to roll those salaries back. They're too high, and including the salary of the county judge as well. We'll look at all of that. And one of the things also, and this is very important to remember, when you are doing those budgeting processes, one of the things that I will do is offer an amendment to the budgeting process that says specifically that any raise approved by the Commissioners Court for themselves will only take effect under the next election cycle for that commissioner. Now what that means, and that mirrors exactly what we do at the federal level. That way, if you are going to vote for yourself a raise, that raise will only take effect once you are elected or re-elected to that office, or it takes effect for the next guy. And what this does is this says that when you are elected for this 4-year term, you are locked into that salary. You cannot give yourself a raise. Any adjustment to that, any COLA raises, any raises at all, will have to come after the next election cycle for that particular commissioner or for the judge. I'm committed to that. I will offer that as a budget amendment first thing as county judge.
And Mr. Boren.
Okay, which question you want me to answer first?
We're gonna take the pledge. I don't think you really have to take it. We know where you are, but
okay, from day one.
How much will you cut? How much are you?
From day one, I'm glad to see Curtis has finally come forth and agreed with us. From day one, I said it was wrong. It was greedy to do that, for them to do that and not get input from the citizens. Number two, the way I would do it is I would bring in some cross cut of our community, business leaders, government leaders, and put together a committee to study what is a fair salary for county commissioners, county judge, and to evaluate this and make a recommendation, and we will vote on it, up or down. And that way you treat it in fairness to the whole process, because this is a full-time job that will take place. I'm willing to cut my salary the same amount. I've been saying it from day one. But I've also found out something that's very interesting. I found out that all this issue about probates and guardianships, when a judge does that and pretty much leaves the other part alone, the administrative part taking care of the citizens, you get a $25,000 bonus from the state of Texas. Well, I wasn't aware of that. And, you know, and now I see why a lot of these judges are sitting here not doing anything helping the citizens because they're getting a $25,000 kicker from the state. I think that's wrong. It ought to be opened up and people ought to see what's taking place. Who's going to help you with your roads? Who's going to help you with protecting you? Who's going to help you in the prison, in the judicial system, if we don't be honest about our wages and how it works? So I will open it all up and make sure we have business people. I know that from business experience, from government experience, to make it happen.
Okay, Mr. Boren, this question.
Yes, sir.
The Lubbock County judge has both judicial and administrative or policy-setting responsibilities, but the county judge is seen as the elected leader of the county as well, much like being the mayor of a city, or the county judge position also unofficially can include being the face of the spokesperson for the county to the rest of the world, so to speak. Why do you think you're better suited than your opponent to fulfill that aspect of this job?
Basically, I have 47 years business experience. I've had to work with every major employer in Lubbock. I worked with the chancellor. I've worked with all of them on bringing new companies to Lubbock. I've represented the workforce. I've been on our schools, on our city government, which is a $500 million entity. I've worked with emergency operations. when we had Katrina. I have the experience and the judgment and the temperament to deal with these issues responsibly because of the conservative nature and experience that I have. And so when you have that, you have to sit down and be able to work with these entities. You have to sit down with the city of Lubbock and say, how can we blend our roads together? What do we do under emergency operations if we have a emergency situation happen where we have to do like happened to Houston and we have to work with the governor's office and get reimbursement set up? How do we work with suppliers and vendors to help save taxpayers' money where these county homes, where our residential homes are getting appraised and taxed at high levels? Our county, the values of tax levy has gone up over 100%, and yet our income over the last 10 years has only gone up 32%. We're upside down. Your home's at risk. I'm tired of people going after my home and not leaving me the freedom to make my decisions there. We need balance to this. I have the experience recognized by 2 different governors of 2 different parties, and the last one being Governor Parrish, to know how to study these things. I know how to bring the whole thing together. I know how to communicate it, and I know how to sell it to the citizens where they see what's taking place.
And Mr. Parrish.
Yeah, one of the primary jobs of county judge is to be the voice for Lubbock County, to represent the county at the various levels, not just represent the county to its citizens, but represent the county at the city level, represent the county at the state level, represent the county to the federal government as well. You are also the head of emergency management, and so I used to say if there's an emergency, and I was told very succinctly, it's when there is an emergency. You need to be the voice for Lubbock County to be able to draw in the federal government, state government, to be able to mitigate whatever disaster is going on. You need to be the voice for Lubbock County. I have worked in state government, worked in Austin. I know how state government works, both in the House and in the Senate. And I can tell you, you need a county judge that can speak into the state role as well, because the county government is an arm of the state. And so you need to have a strong voice that can represent the Lubbock County at the state level, a strong voice that can represent Lubbock County at the city level, a strong voice that can represent the Lubbock County at the federal level. I can be that strong voice. I am that strong voice, and I appreciate your vote.
Okay, I'm going to go off script here and ask each of you this question, and Mr. Parrish, you're going to answer it first. Is there a question that I did not ask that you would like to answer or you would like to have asked your opponent? And we'll begin with you, Mr. Parrish.
Well, I think you've covered it. One of the issues of back to kind of the judicial issue. My opponent, Councilman Boren, wants to and has said he's going to move those cases off to another court. These are courts, the county court at law. They already have full dockets, and in fact, in the mental health cases alone, the county judge is required to leave the courthouse twice a week to conduct those hearings, both at the treatment facilities, at UMC, at Covenant, at Sunrise Canyon. This is the job of Lubbock County judge, and it cannot be pawned off on another court. The question I would ask is that if you plan on pawning off this job to another court, and that the commissioners have to hire another judge, how do you justify that, given the fact that you wanted to roll back because you said that it was both greedy it was wrong and greedy for commissioners to give themselves a raise, and yet your scheme of passing this on would cause Lubbock County about $150,000 to $200,000 a year in salary to make up for the job you don't want to do as county judge? That would be my question that I would ask for my opponent, Gary Boren. And
Mr. Boren, you get the last question there.
Well, first of all, I've never said what he's saying, so I don't know where he gets his numbers, pawn off, or gets his ideas that it's going to cost $150,000 and $200,000. I don't know if he's using the PFA formula called pluck from air, but there's no such thing, no number that I've ever heard of or seen. They've got a court attorney in there plus an investigator, and no one's pawning off anything. It is the job of the county judge. I got the job description right here. Y'all can come look at it when it's through. and Director of Emergency Operations, prepare the county budget, preside the court. You know, this goes on, and to think that I would pawn off part of the job is wrong. Secondly, he didn't have any experience in government to know how things work. He didn't have a clue. So it's easy to use the PFA formula, plug from air, and put all these imaginary ideas into a book and say, how are you going to do that? How are you going to do this? When that's not true. You know, it's a job that I'm going to work hard at. I've worked hard at everything we've done in our life, and I'm going to work hard at this. If you were the dean of Harvard Law School and you came to Texas and wanted to be a Lubbock County judge, he's going to take the same course that I would take or Curtis will take in Austin, 16 hours, because it doesn't matter what your background is. It's a citizens court, and they're going to train you the way they want it done. It's restricted, it's non-contested, and all these other hearings that are restricted, what they'll have you do, but you have to give them the time to get so you don't have an overloaded docket. And guess what? I'll pass on the $25,000. Would you pass on the $25,000 kicker? I didn't know it even existed. Austin Statesman.
Gentlemen, well done. That completes our questions. We are now going to give each candidate 2.5 minutes to make a final case on why they deserve your vote, and we begin with Mr. Parrish. Here you go.
Thank you again, Jeff, and thank you to Raymar, to KJTV, Fox 34 News for sponsoring this, and to the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce. Thank you very much for hosting us and having us here today. This job of Lubbock County Judge is vitally important. We are in the middle now of early voting. This is a job that will shape the future of Lubbock County, not just this year, but for years to come. You need a candidate, you need a judge with leadership, vision, and integrity that can do 100% of the job. The job of county judge is also to be the voice for Lubbock County at the city level, the state level, and the federal level. And I'm the only candidate with legislative experience in both the Texas House and the Texas Senate. I know how to represent our county, and I want to be your voice. When I was working with Senator Duncan as legislative aide, part of my job was to be the liaison between the Senate district and the counties of the 28th Senatorial District. So I know how county government works. So I know this job from an administrative point of view, and I know this job from a judicial point of view. And I am willing and able to do that job today, 100% of the job, 100% of the time. County government is my favorite form of government. I developed a love for county government under a great mentor of mine, Judge Rod Shaw, and he's an incredible man and an incredible judge. We have so much to be proud of here in Lubbock County, and we have so many great new opportunities in our wide open horizon. And now, more than ever, we need a county judge who can provide leadership, vision, and integrity. I'm honored to be in this runoff, and I ask for your vote. I ask for your support. And more importantly, I ask for your prayers as we push toward May 22nd. I'm excited to roll up my sleeves right alongside of you and get to work for our great future. May God bless you, and may God bless Lubbock County.
And Mr. Boren, your turn, sir.
Lubbock County now stands at a historic crossroad in time, 2018. Finally, after decades have passed us, the voters of Lubbock County have an opportunity in electing a conservative as your Lubbock County judge. The majority on the Lubbock County Commissioners Court on May 22nd put in 2 new conservatives, and I will be the missing piece that will join hands with them to deal with the issues that you've been asking for. The winds of change have blown through Lubbock County. They want to see changes in the tax policy. They want to see their roads fixed. They want to be protected from illegal aliens, from trafficking, from drug crimes, property crimes. They want their roads fixed. They don't want excuses from government when they give them excuses when they say, why has this not happened? I'm the only one that has experience. I'm the only one that has government experience. My opponent has 0 experience. He has worked in as an aide with an elected official. He wasn't the elected official. He didn't pass legislation. He answered the phone, delivered the mail, delivered documents, and he answered questions of constituencies. The experience of working and getting policies passed, knowing how to do this is critical. Lubbock is at a growth stage, And the number one issue we have to face together is going to be the protection of our families. The issue we got to face together is how do we deal with the property increases and the taxation that goes on in this area. And the number three thing we have to deal with is getting these roads fixed and supporting our sheriff's office and the DA's office. I'm asking you for your vote because this is a time in Lubbock County history where experience does make the difference. Experience that has been recognized by the governor, and we, in such a time as this, we are ready to go to work to get things fixed for you, the property owner, the homeowner, and we can get this done. We will set an example working with our legislature, and I think being a voice is great. I'd rather be a participant. I want to be in the arena. I want to be in there where it takes, so you have to get in the mud and fight and get things done. I'm that kind of guy. I don't sit up there and talk about it. I don't use beautiful adjective words to describe it. We're in the arena. We're in there to win, and we've got to get together with our citizens, open up our government, and do what has needed to take place for a long time. Open up Lubbock County. Let's get the votes there. Let's get the salaries fixed. And let's get the roads done and protect our Sheriff's Department and our courts and our criminal justice system. Thank you for your vote, for your patience, and your prayers. Thank you, Raymar, for this opportunity.
Thank you, gentlemen. And we remind you, the early vote runs through May 18th. The runoff election day is May 22nd. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.